Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to REDCast, the official podcast of the Regional Elite Draft League. We're back again for Season 3 of the cast, and we're going to be doing the post-draft analysis for the Yellow Division, the opinions of myself and the full cast is quite a rarity for this week. So, first up, joining us, my now esteemed co-host, Mr. Vic. How are you this evening?
So, thanks for having me yet again. And I'm doing great. Let's see how these drafts pan out this time.
Cool. And joining him, Yellow Division coach of the CLE Legends, joining us kindly from his mobile. And hearing the printers in the background. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm good. I'm ready to analyze some teams. Give some input, maybe some strategy to whoever plays them.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. And then finally, a newcomer to REDCast. Don't believe you've been on before, but Yellow Division player, coach of the Vancouver Milotics for this upcoming season. It's TB. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, I'm great. It's been a long night. It's been a long day, but hopefully this will be a good laugh. And so, as a quick update to all of those who aren't playing and who are watching from spectator stands and may have not caught up with the rules and whatnot, there was a 10-point increase in the number of points, going from 105 to 110, which means that the quality of the drafts has certainly increased greatly. I think everybody can agree. Those 10 points have made a lot of difference to pretty much every draft compared to last season. So yeah, with introductions out the way, shall we just jump into the first draft?
I can't wait for this one.
We're starting.
I think Vic should take the lead on it.
Vic take the lead on this one. All right, Vic, do you want to introduce this team since you're so eager?
So this is the Adelaide Orange Crows. The one and only creator of the league, Bill Standish, and creator of the sets and maker of Articuno work.
Pure
and
heat.
I just love this man. And his team is Landros T, Hoopa and Bound, Rotten Wash, Bastiodon, plus Cephalon, and yes, that was round for Bastiodon. Como O, Whimsicott, Sil Valley, Delibird, Gothita, and Megabedro.
So,
I have to say that I love this team. It's some top tier Volturn into some extremely powerful breakers and has some extremely dangerous setup sweeping behind it. Just love it.
It's just a standard build team, and I hate it because I know these low tier mons are going to come and they're going to do work. Like, I still just shake my head every time I see Bastion get brought up after the stuff it was able to do last season. It's just so upsetting. And now he's got a Delibird and a Gothita, and if somebody,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. If somebody gets trapped and stalled by a Gothita, it probably means retirement for this person. Because there's just no way you come back.
Just want to see Delibird remove hazards once.
Yeah, I want to see him pull off a rapid spin Delibird here. That
with
would
hustle,
be gold.
With hustle.
Yes.
So it has the extra miss chance. But yeah, overall thoughts on the team. Aside from the memes, the Monzi's picked up a quality. Landorus T is obviously the best all-rounder. Hooper Unbound is a scary breaker. Rotom Wash, Blacephalon, all great high tiers. Como is a great mon. Silvally, good enough, and certainly last round Mega Beedrill is quite impressive that you would go for the Gothita, the Delibird, and the Bastiodon before anything else. But aside
fact is, Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead if you've got a point.
The fact that he was able to take 3 memes, and we know Bill can use memes, and the fact that he took 3 let him take so many big mons and stronger mons worth more points with his other picks, and it's going to make this team very scary for people to try to figure out what mons are the most dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah, no, I was about to make a point, but then I just realised it's a Bill draft, so the memes are just 100% a threat, and everybody will just have to live with it in the division that has to play him.
I don't get to play him this season.
Do you not get to play him? Well,
nope. I missed out on him and Shiny this season, so I'm gonna tell him right now. His team loses to Mega God of War. Straight up.
You think, but Bastiodon has something to say about that. Assault Vest Bastiodon has something to say.
It's got soundproof. Soundproof Bastiodon is the answer.
I got the answer for that. I'm just telling Bill, if we meet in playoffs, if you're listening, Bill, Mega God of War 6-0.
Fair enough. Sending out a strong message. Yeah. Any final points from anybody else about this thing of a team?
I just want to emphasize that, like, Bird, the team's actually like, and if he manages to do anything with Delibird, then like, I've seen him pull off some insane stuff. But I think Delibird's at the next level. If he manages one, whatever, right?
Ascendancy. Right.
Next god. But I really like your team. Like, in all honesty, I really like that, as I said, this top tier Volt turned into breakers, into setup sweepers.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now we've got that team out of the way, we can move on to the rest of the normal looking draft. I will start that with the Brighton Bewares, coached by Evan. His team consists of Tapu Lele, Mega Alakazam, Ferrothorn, Alolan Muck, Rotom Heat, Swampert, Terrakion, Licklicky, Noivern, Masquerain, Floatzel. It's another
So I'll take the lead on this one.
Yeah, go for it.
Evan basically kind of picking up what he did last season, picking up the Lele, which he had last season, did pretty well with it, won Blue Division, powered it up with a Mega Alakazam, which were his first 2 picks. So, and then I didn't think it could get any worse, but he picked Alolan Muck, so
he picked the best possible
really hard
check.
to abuse the psychic terrain against him whenever he gets Alolan Muck. And so, I mean, it's just kind of like what Lonely did last year. He picked up Charizard X, and then he picked up Lando T and Rotom Wash. So he just basically picks like 2 of the counters, so he doesn't have to face them.
It's a smart move.
So I think this is a smart move.
It's a smart move.
His lower tier picks, he's got Mastering, he's got Webs, which kind of would help him with speed control with the Lele. I really like the Floatzel pick. Granted, Aqua Jet will be nerfed a little bit in terrain, but I don't know. I like it. It's kind of a neat mon. He picked up Pharaoh as well, which I don't know if you want to bring any fighting moves against it. So maybe he can just lock into like an Aqua Berry every game, or I don't know. He's just everything I feel like you could abuse against him. He's got a mon that counters it very well.
It's a nicely constructed team, and we were talking about this when we were discussing the Blue Division drafts, because it's very similar to Harmu's team in Blue Division. They've got the same sort of central Mega Alakazam, Tapu Lele core. Despite it being like a bit of a gimmick, Mega Alakazam in Psychic Terrain, the points have allowed it to be built so well around in both divisions that it's 100% like a genuine like playoff contention threatening team. But yeah, I overall really like the support he's picked up for both.
And I don't see him like usually what some players do is they get 2 good picks and they kind of waste their points, and then after that they kind of lack synergy or lack effective mons. He's got pretty good things that fill nice niches.
Yeah.
Licky can just wall everything if there's no fighting type, and I don't know too many people who want to bring a fighting type against the Lele. So I mean, it's just well-rounded, I feel, and nothing wasted, no points wasted. I don't see a Bidoof on there or a Delibird.
Yeah, I mean, oh god.
Yeah, no.
That's
He
like
started
a
off 2 very powerful mons, picked up a lot of solid defense around them, and he made a good use of his low-tier picks. Like, it's hard to do much better in terms of how you structure your draft.
Yeah, for sure. The only kind of like qualm I have with the team is that it's entirely defog reliant and removal reliant on Rotom Heat pretty much. But that being said, when your hazard pressure is Ferrothorn being both rocks and spikes, you've got a consistent setter in Swampert, you've got webs from Masquerain. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, to be kind of reliant on your opponent having to defog rather than you having to do it. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, and overall I think it's a nicely designed team, I think.
Yeah, I can tell you because I've actually been prepping for this thing. It's my week 1 opponent, and oh boy,
It's a rough one.
yeah.
Any final points overall, guys? I'll take the resounding silence as a no.
Sorry,
It's alright, don't worry about it.
just had a glass at the ground.
Oh, is that what all the clanging is?
No, my mic was muted. You'd have heard
right.
a very loud swearing.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, so it's Nathan that's
That's Max.
Oh, right, it's Max.
He wants to. He agrees with me. Evan's team loses 6-0 to Mega Gardevoir.
Fair enough. Max knows his stuff. Right, so next up on our draft list, we have the Karaoke Crooks, coached by El Birabon. His team consisting of Tornadus Therian, Heatran, Toxapex, Mega Heracross, Raikou, Flygon, Lycanroc Dusk, Liepard, Azumarill, Swordsbuck, and Grumpig. Anybody want to take a lead opinion? No, Nathan, go ahead.
Heck to prep for. I went through, I think, about 2 or 3 teams prepping for this guy, and I feel like it's very. If you could pressure his Tornadus with a Hazard Stacker, some kind of rocker, some kind of rock type, maybe a Stunfisk or something, I feel that's one of his few flaws that I noticed. But he's got so much offense and so many great pivots. The regen core of Tornadus T, Toxapex, I guess I should introduce it.
It's absolutely toxic.
He's got Tornadus T, Heatran, Toxapex.
I mean, I've already gone over it, Nathan, it's fine. But...
but his team is just, he's got, very good bulk, and he's got breakers, and he's got stall breakers with Torn T. And I don't know, I just think Torn T, probably like top 5 best mon in the format.
And Grumpig.
Bring it every week.
Yeah.
Grumpig's like deceptively bulky.
Very well.
Grumpig is scary.
I mean, deceptively bulky. It tanks a lot of things it should not tank.
After the whole thing last season where Blossom went on a tear through the league, like, I'm genuinely scared of what Biri can do with low tier mons, and seeing a Grumpig picked up. I've never ever seen a Grumpig taken in Draft League before in my life, but it's something that kind of frightens me on a fundamental level to see that on a draft.
Yeah, Biri has an uncanny ability to see how to use mons that others don't usually expect to see.
Yeah.
So he should make good use of it.
I actually really like the dumb amounts of priority he has. It's really strong and really threatening.
Yeah, for sure. I like the speed tier. I kind of dig the Mega Heracross pick. I think he's got great. I mean, Nathan summarized it really well. He's got great breakers. He's got great pivots. He's got great momentum. My only query maybe is like a couple of these mid to low point mons like Flygon and Lipard, just to see how he's going to use them. I mean, Flygon gets like a weird rep. It's not that great, but I'm excited to see how he utilizes the stuff he's picked up for sure.
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
All right. Any final points?
Mega Gardevoir does not 1v1 a Grumpig.
Fair enough. Okay, so
I'll take that into consideration.
yes. Well, funnily enough, speaking of Mega Gardevoir, the next team on the list is in fact yours, Nathan. So do you wanna do your introduction for your team and
Yeah, so
give us the rundown of
I
it?
just wanted to go with Mega Gardevoir and kind of build my team around that. So I went Mega Gardevoir, Infernape, Mandibuzz, Araquanid, Nidoking, Lycanroc Day, Snorlax, Druddigon, Klefki, Blossom, and Electros.
Yeah.
Basically try to build webs, a webs team with it, a couple of different forms of speed control, and a lot of bulk and pivots. But
A lot of bulk. Massive bulk. Wow.
It is a massive amount of bulk. It's not a lot of top end speed though. That's my
And that's also my grab with it.
immediate concern. Araquanid speed control is great with webs. It's a really consistent setter. But like it maybe feels to me like some of your stuff is like forced onto Scarf a lot more than it should. Like Infernape feels pretty obligated to run a Scarf, and maybe Nidoking as well in certain situations. But yeah, like I like the overall bulk of the team. I like the consistency in Stealth Rock setters with Druddigon and Lycanroc Day and Klefki Spikes as well. And I like Mandibuzz as a really consistent defogger. And Nidoking for setting rocks as well.
Really dig this team too.
And Mega Gardevoir has like been one of these late emerging like top tier megas that everybody sort of like only just started picking up on. But it's a really hard hitting strong team, and I hope it does well.
Yeah, I can see a lot of issues trying to switch when dealing with Nathan overall. He's done well in that perspective, but yeah, no but.
Fair enough. Yeah, any final points from anybody on the Legends team? Nope. Okay, cool. You can feel free to say no. You don't have to. And then next up is my team. So, my team, I drafted Mew, Thunderous Eye, Hydreigon, Florges, Nihilego, Mega Steelix, Delmise, Quagsire, Scolipede, and Vanillix. Given that I had a pretty late position in the draft, I'm pretty happy with the overall outcome of the team. Mew and Thunderous Eye late round 1 into round 2 is a pretty nice bag, I think, as far as a first round goes.
Yeah, I think Mew is really good. This is possibly one of the best monsters in the format. And it just gives so many options. If you have Mew, you can draft pretty much anything and Mew will fix your team.
Yeah, and you supported Mew well as well, so it's not going to be forced into any one role majority of weeks, which is always appreciated for it.
I think so, yeah, for sure. I think Nathan's a lot more quieter because he's still a bit upset that throughout the draft I continually sniped him.
and the meme was, well, I asked for Celesteela and Mew thinking that they would maybe drop, and I got wheel pick of 14, just people listening, and I thought I had a chance at getting Mew, and I was denied.
You were denied
And
Mew, and
the
then
snipes continued on every odd number round, so I wanted Hydreigon as well. I think I had a look at another mod, maybe Delmon.
yeah.
I'm not too certain. And now that I forget about it, but I ended up having But your draft turned out great. The only thing I don't like about it is there's not a very good way to break like a steal. I don't see like a stab fighting or a stab fire. Now you do have Quagsire, but I mean it doesn't typically like scream.
I mean, there is
something
Mega
that
Steelix
breaks
as well.
Steel. So I mean that's my only thing with it is you don't like Nihilego does not like piecing any steals.
Nope, that's correct.
Hydreigon, you can fix that with Thundy Hydreigon carrying coverage moves, but that'd be the only thing that I'm not a big fan of. But it's a good draft still.
That's fair.
It's really solid. I think one way to describe it is it's really, really solid.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, that's what I think about it.
I think it came out pretty nicely for the direction it kind of took, sort of after picking up Nihilego and Mega Steelix. Sniping Quagsire has earned me much hate from other members that I'll have to face, but I think maybe Quagsire is a bit on the cheap side, so I think I'm pretty happy with how early I was able to pick that up. But yeah, I'm happy with the draft overall. And hopefully it does good this season, and it takes me further than round 1 of playoffs. Cool. If there's no final points, we can move on.
Go for it.
Does anybody want to do the introduction for the Detroit Terravolts, or?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, take the floor.
So, Detroit Terravolt, coached by Nacho, consists of Celesteela, Z Latios, Weavile, Primarina, Jolteon, Piloswine, Z Virizion, Tentacruel, Volcarona, and Z Sudowoodo. So, I do quite like actually how he's put this team together. Doesn't look as threatening as maybe some of the others, but any team that's got Celesteela, I'm an avid fan of Weavile Cleaner. It does nominally that job. Even Sudowoodo has a spot here as one of his only rockers, which is admittedly, but like nothing feels wasted. I think he did well with.
Yeah.
I think his only like really big problem that I can see with this team is his lack of the time picks Piloswine and Sudowoodo as blockers. Like being forced to run either Piloswine every game or running Sudowoodo if you want drops.
Yeah.
Which is less than optimal in my opinion. Either way, I really like some part of the team that's like threat after threat. You got Celesteela, which is a huge threat. Latios, which is a possibly the game, of course. Weavile, which is a huge threat. Primarina, which Corona, which is a massive also threat.
I also kind of think it makes more of an impact when, like, with this team, like, every single one of his hard hitters, like his Weavile and his Latios, all of them want to have rocks up on the opponent's side of the field to potentially put their opponent below and put their checks below that 2-hit KO threshold, to make breaking open and cleaning easier.
I agree with you on that one. Completely. That's, I think, the biggest flaw of this team. That start with Celesteela, Latios, Weavile, like, really threatening. Also, lack of a Mega. I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah, no Mega, but it was an option to not draft one this season, and I can respect the teams that didn't, but I do think it's more damaging to the teams that didn't. I like his removal options, to be honest. I know it's only Tentacruel and Latios, but both of those are like top tier for
They're consistent.
Volcarona. Yeah, and that's what you need when you have a mod like Volcarona, which I fully support as like one of the most underrated top tiers in the game at the minute.
Also, like Latios Volcarona is really, really threatening. Latios is, in my opinion, like the second best in this format. Possibly the first one being about like Tornadoes, 20.
Mm-hmm.
And like he can nearly always make sure that there are no rocks up for Volcarona. Also, Memento into Quiver Dance, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, all in all, pretty interested to see how he does with that team.
Hyped for this team. I wanna see what he pulls with this.
Yeah. Any closing comments?
I would have liked to see Celesteela with the Z as opposed to Latios.
Yeah, I'd maybe agree with that.
That would be about it. I really like his Primarina. And I think Pillow-Swine doesn't mind holding rocks every game, but that's my opinion on it. But cool draft.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with all of that. Then moving on, we've got the Flint Tropius, coached by Shiny Spam. His team consists of Kieran Black, Mega Deancy, Zapdos, Bronzong, Shaman, Alola Mamola, Salazzle, Donphan, Beware, Alolan Raticate, and Illumise. Whew.
Where are your switches now?
I mean, no, that is like the point. So Shiny is my week 1 battle, and the prep that went into trying to find answers to all of this was just nigh on impossible. Finding coverage for all of those offensive threats, and then trying to find a way to fit in ways of breaking down defensive Alola Lamola and defensive Shaman and defensive Bronzong, as well as Zapdos on top of them, is just it is nightmarish. He struck the really nice balance for me between that is bulky offense. His defense supports his like bulky attackers really well.
One gripe I have with this team is that it lacks like this, like a speed demon, something over 125 speed would be.
The closest he gets to that is Salazzle at 117, I think it is. But yeah, I think I overall agree. He's more opted towards bulky offense than he has to like fleshing out the speed tiers.
Feels like really, really consistent team. It's really hard to keep assets up against this kind of team. And even though I don't really like Zapdos, like it's really this trap because of the pivoting and the hazard removal.
For sure.
For Kieran and for Mega Deancy.
Yeah. Any thoughts from you guys, Nathan, TB?
When I got to prep with this team, wink wink, I got to mock Reg, and I really liked it. I think the only hard part was limiting it down to 6 mons. Usually I can find 4 mons that do well, and then 2 kind of fill in niches or cover certain checks on this team. Whenever I was building with it, it was like, yeah, that does work, that does work, that does work, that mon probably does work too. And it just, I don't know, it felt, besides the Alolan Raticate and Illumise, but everything else was pretty I could see them doing work in my mock versus you.
There's good circumstances for everything. Fidel. Attack of the Microwave.
Sorry, that's me sticking my supper in.
Interesting.
Man.
Now, my one thing with this team is I don't fully understand why he went with Radicate and Illumise rather than like a tier. I do see reasons to take, well, Illumise more so, but I don't see him bringing them that much compared to something that would have been like 5 points being more
Well, you
worthwhile.
gotta watch some regulator games with the Alolan Radicate.
I mean, it'd be 6 points total because he's got a point left over. If he doesn't take Illumise and Raticate, then that's potentially something he could pick up.
Yeah,
and I agree.
Mean, even Illumise, I see has its purpose. I believe it has tail, like it does something.
It doesn't have tail blow, but it's still Prankster Encore. It's still like good niche support. Yeah.
Yeah, Radicate, I just don't understand, but that might just be my lack of experience. So, see what he does with it.
Yeah, it's a fair analysis.
Really interested in how this, like, what people bring against this team, because
yeah, there's different ideas.
I don't think I know what to do.
Yeah. All right. Any final points?
Not from me.
Cool. All right. Moving on. Vic, how about you introduce your team to us? The Houndoom Hercules.
So the Houndoom Hercules, and I'm the coach of my team. I'm great at this. Which is Megalatios, Serperior, Necrozma, Manaphy, Talonflame, Conkeldurr, Blissey, Magnezone, Gramble, and Venipede. Just pick monsters that I like. I know there are like a couple of really big weaknesses, like electric types. Handle them somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, speaking as the guy who's trying to prep for this right now, like there are multiple types that have common weaknesses, but he's also covered them really well with other mon. So like he's got his top 3 picks there are all weak to bug, but got talent sitting there and a Magnezone. So he's covered his weaknesses well.
And it's a very Vic draft.
Yeah.
Like I know, like I think UTB, we've probably known Vic like a good number of years, and like seeing the classic drafts he goes with, like this is I think the first time he's brought that sort of draft over to Red.
Yeah, absolutely. Some form of Latios is always there. Blissey is his child of love.
Talonflame.
Serperior even.
Serp as well. Big Nessie.
It's absolutely a Vic draft through and through, and I know he's going to use it very well. He's going to be a threat all season with this.
Shout out to the last pick 1 point Venipede as well.
Hey, at one point I said,
Venipede line gang.
Don't diss Venipede. I'm sitting there with Whirlipede, and it did work week. So,
look at that. We've all got a Scolipede evolution. That's cute.
I like the idea that if everything, like I can't prep anything, I can always throw in a Venipede and put like spikes, T-spikes, and
Endeavor,
and then start bringing like set up Necrozma, set up Talonflame, set up Conkeldurr, set up Serperior, set up Megalatios, set up Manaphy, and
yeah, absolutely. And if you're dealing with someone whose removal is mediocre, that Venipede is going to do work. So
yeah, absolutely.
So the one thing I liked about Vic's team is nothing really doesn't mind losing its item. So like knockoff spam, his 2 psychic types, I don't want to say are super effective, but they don't get the boost in a way because the Necrozma has Prism Armor and Latios is a Mega Stone.
Yeah.
And then like everything else, Blissey doesn't really mind its leftovers being knocked off. Magnezone, may mind,
Heresy, life for really Blissey.
Manaphy may carry a Z Crystal, and Serperior, doesn't mind too much its item being knocked off. So it's real like it's not knockoff spam where you don't just bring knockoff to it and take an item. That's one thing I really like about your draft.
One saving grace, I think, that I picked up really early because I know my way of drafting. I said I'm gonna take Necrozma because that thing fixes drafts, and then just like go with whatever I want.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think it's going to be a very scary team for everybody to face because although it doesn't
My
look...
begs to differ.
Huh?
Begs to differ.
Yeah. Although it doesn't look like particularly a... the draft doesn't look like anything special, but overall I think like because it's a draft that you'd be so comfortable with, I think it's going to be a very big threat to everybody playing you this season.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure, man. Right, any other final points? Nope. Okay. Next up, we have the Ladner Lantern, coached by... I should have done this in the way he introduces it. But anyway, coached by Electricity or Ian. He has drafted Clefable, Garchomp, Suicune, Mega Aggron, Rotom Mow, Keldeo, Entei, Alolan Persian, Reuniclus, and Munchlax. Man, what a great
Solid.
Fairy Dragon Steel core. Another
Fire
really
water
great
grass.
one. I don't even really know where to sort of begin overall with that team. Like, Clefable is busted and we'll always get them up, yada yada, same old meme. Mega Aggron, I think I heavily rate Mega Aggron. I think it's great. Pure Steel type with Filter is just so good on a defensive tank.
This team sucked to try to prep for it.
I can imagine.
So.
You just slap on the bright powder on your Dragonite, and it's GG.
Just dodge, just dodge everything.
The one weakness he had that he has there that's very thorough is he only has one removal, which even on a team with 2 Magic Guard users is not in today's format with how common hazards are for everyone playing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the big thing that I noticed.
Yeah, the removal is actually really bad because especially from the perspective of your defogger being a grass type and having no grounded poison, toxic spikes are like a questionable problem, especially when you're relying on things like Garchomp and Suicune. Suicune's completely invalidated by toxic spikes, but the general lack of consistent recovery outside of Clefable, toxic spikes I think are going to be a real problem for the team.
One thing I see being potentially a problem with this team is its lack of speed.
Yeah, it's very slow.
Where you can have your team and you maybe have 1 or 2 things that outspeed his entire draft, and you put the Scarf into one of those and be guaranteed to have the fastest mon. With mons that don't have that much speed, like base 110's already with the Scarf outspeed his entire.
No, yeah, it's a fair point. And what's worse is the fastest mon on the team being Alolan Persian isn't really the mon you want to be scarfing yourself. So it almost kind of forces Keldeo into a scarf role in some situations that can probably be more easily predicted. But yeah, overall, I think it's a solid draft. I like the bulk. I'm a big fan of Reuniclus. I'm a big fan of Clef and Suicune and all that good stuff. And Rotom Mow as well. I just think it's lacking some key support.
Yeah. I really would have liked to see... I mean, I probably understand that you want to see Garchomp.
Mm-hmm.
I would have really
liked Robot Nathan
to find a way to Z Persian.
It's the fact that it's so slow as well.
Parting shot, I think that would benefit Mega Aggron.
I think the microwave.
Clefable. A lot more than a Z breaking. I really like his Munchlax. I really like his Flax pick.
Is he
I
died?
think the microwave won the fight.
So Nathan, are you there? Oh, his signal might have gone.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with most of his points to translate. Munchlax is priced way too low this season. I think we had an oversight with some of the 1-point mons.
Yeah. We're too busy with like, this Vente worth 13, 12. Well, meanwhile, there's all these busted low pointers right around.
Yeah, I mean, props to him for noticing it. If he sees it, then use it. Absolutely.
So, any further points we have again for Ian's team?
No, I've not got particularly anything to say. So next up,
Had to see where he gets with this team.
yeah,
Sorry. Introduce next team.
it could be a team that does really well in practice and just doesn't look as strong on paper. But anyway, next up we have the London Garchomp, coached by current Yellow Division champion Specs Crange. His team consists of Megalopony, Victini, Crocodile, Roserade, Togekiss, Milotic, Galvantula, Uxie, Ambipom, and Avalugg. Some returning mons actually from last season: Ambipom, Victini, Avalugg. He's actually like one of few people I think that I've seen like make active use of Avalugg during a season.
Oh, he might have to have a conversation with Bill, and both of them share
share the tech.
Of course.
Yeah, he's done well with Ambipom in
I
prior
really
season.
Oh, go ahead, Vic.
Megalopony into Victini's same start.
Yeah.
Then you get all these options with Togekiss, with Galvantula. Then you have Crocodile, which is extremely versatile. Also, Roserade is also extremely versatile. Foxy is extremely versatile for its price. Really good team.
Yeah, I agree.
Hazard removal could be slightly better, but
yeah,
still really good.
I'm not a fan of the hazard removal because Togekiss just doesn't want to be in the defog role. I think it's suboptimal to have Togekiss in that, doing that kind of job.
Avalugg.
Well, yeah, but Avalugg isn't what I'd call the adequate support.
No.
But I think this is one of those teams similar to Evans, where you've got Roserade being able to put down both of the spikes, regular and T-spikes. You've got some pretty consistent rockers in Crocodile and Uxie, and then you've got Galvantula for webs. So you've covered pretty much every hazard type. You may be playing more on having your opponent do the defogging for hazards and remove their own setup rocks than you are trying to remove theirs.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like about this team is his what would I
think
be?
I can
His
agree with
bird
that.
resist, his brave bird resist would be
Also, Milotic is
really
really irritating.
takes it, but Avalugg and Milotic,
Victini, Roserade is a really good core.
can take brave birds or any kind of flying attacks, but he doesn't have a really good resist.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, that's one thing. Usually you're electric or steel or rock type, but
I don't think I have much more to say about King's team.
which I think was
Let's
mentioned.
see
But,
what you do
that'd
with
be
it.
about it.
Please speak to Bill about.
Vic, have you got Nathan muted, or can you not hear him?
I cannot hear.
Oh, there was a little bit of talk overlap, but I don't think it's a big deal. It's interesting. Must be some connection issues. Sorry for that, folks. Those that may have heard the talking clashes. But yeah, I think I agree overall. The team like doesn't look like anything like spectacular to me. It seems like just a standard solid draft team, and yeah, it's just that, and I hope he does well with it this season. Right, next team. We've got the Lowell Spinder, coached by the one lonely cow. He has opted to draft Zygarde 50%, Zeraora, Greninja, Crobat, Registeel, Decidueye, Alolan Ninetales, Kamala, Persimmon, and Mega Charizard Y. Whew.
So I love this team.
Yeah, so do I.
Zygarde, Charizard Y. I can't think of anything that wants to come in on the both of them. Zeraora is probably my top 3 mon in the format that I like using. He's got pretty much Veil, and he's got Crobat, and I just think he's got a lot of setup in Decidueye to break. He doesn't have the the best walls, but I think Registeel can act as a good job in checking a couple things. But I love his draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, this draft is absolutely brutal to try to play any kind of defensive game. Like, from my view, you cannot play defense against Zygarde and Megazard, Zeraora. It's not an easy team to play defense against. To have a wall or check. Decent check, I should say.
And then when you compare that as well to kind of like the support that Alolan Ninetales provides against teams that do go more offensive, I think it's going to be really tricky for people to play around that if Lonely plays it right. I think he's the factor holding it back.
This is one of those teams that I'd honestly love to have in my hands. In my kind of team. Like, taking away my team, this is...
Yeah.
And I can tell you only that this is not easy to play. Do with this, because it can be absolutely devastating.
No, I completely agree overall. Yeah, again, it's just a really nice offensive team. I think it's really clean. I don't really have too many criticisms of it. The hazards are pretty. They're okay. I think his only rock setter is Registeel. Only one rock setter. That's a bit naff.
Yeah, but he's got Greninja.
But you got Greninja with the spikes and...
I don't think it's that
great. Yeah, and Registeel is also the type of setter who can get them up if he needs them up that much.
It's super consistent, yeah. And it's always got the move slot to run rocks. It's never like stuck for trying to fit it on. The removal's consistent as well. Kamala, Decidueye, Crobat, all great removers for Zard Y and more offensive variants of Crobat. So yeah, I think it's a great
See
team.
what you do. Also, I wanted to point out, what was the Decidueye signature move?
Sinister Arrow Raids?
Yeah, Sinister Arrow Raid it becomes, yeah.
I mean, but I'm speaking about the basic one.
Spirit Shackle is the base one.
It can trap an enemy, and then you can bring in Zygarde and click Dragon Dance.
Yeah.
It's really, really scary.
It's always a threat.
Have to prep against, because if not, you get your, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't need to kill it. You bring it Zygarde and you start pressing TD, and something's going to die.
Yeah, it absolutely forces things. Right. Any other comments on that?
Not much else.
Cool. Right. Do you want to do the introduction for the New Jersey Houndoom, Nathan, as you share an affinity for being sniped with him?
Yeah. So locals here, he's got Excadrill, Tyranitar, Gyarados, Sylveon. The Gyarados has a Z move. Latios is Z as well. Heracross, Vikavolt, Magmortar, Gastrodon, Gourgeist, and Venusaur. he's got a lot of offense in Excadrill and Gyarados. I think round one, I think he had like 4th or 3rd pick, and he went Excadrill. I don't really like that. I don't like the 4 Mons that are weak to fire in Heracross, Vikavolt, Gourgeist, and Venusaur. But he's got a good Fairy Dragon Steel with Latias, Sylveon, and Excadrill.
Yep.
And hopefully he can bring enough support with those like 6 lower Mons from. But I could see him basically bringing like the 5 on top, and then just kind of have like Gastrodon or Gourgeist fill in some kind of hole for the team. I really like the Vikavolt pick.
I kind of do. I'm not too sure I would have taken Heracross. But then again, I don't know at the time if there was any like other decent fighting types to pick up. But for me, maybe one or the other. But that's just a personal preference.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I really like. I am a huge advocate of as a whole, and he's got some nice support alongside it that I do really like. The one thing, well, 2 things I guess that I kind of question are Heracross and Vikavolt together, and then Gourgeist and Venusaur as well.
Yeah,
I don't really understand what Venusaur is doing, but he may have had his reason. So we'll see.
I think just generally as a decent grounded poison, and a way to maybe specifically handle fairies, because outside of Excadrill, there isn't really that secondary type to check offensive fairies that well. Maybe
that's fair. I don't know. Just to me, like he's got a couple of months. He's gonna find that being somewhat redundant, but again, like maybe that's just.
And also the fact I think there's no Mega on the team.
Yeah,
Nacho.
Yeah, no Mega meta. Yeah, all fair comments.
Point out.
Yeah, go for it, Vic.
That I'm not too sure on the reliance of. Like, I really like it. It's got some really good points. The wrong Lati, but what can be done? But this kind of team with good breakers and good sweepers could do with another speed demon.
Yeah, something at the top end to support. Maybe reduce the reliance on Sandrush Drill. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's a valid point, I think.
I really like the power that Tyranitar and Vikavolt bring, just breaking everything.
Yeah.
Defensive course, like really solid. Absurdly bulky for. He can take a lot of hits that you wouldn't expect him to. Gastrodon is very bulky. So, by taking Latias over Latios. And then you got stuff like Gourgeist and Venusaur, which can take the hits. And also distant back, which is really great for them coming up with some Excadrill and just clean.
Yeah.
More if it had like a speed demon.
Yeah, completely agree. Any final comments to make? Nope. Okay, so.
Sorry, I'm in the process of burning my supper.
Nah, don't worry about it. So our penultimate draft is the Pittsburgh Magic Guard, coached by Recon Jack. And the team is an absolute points bandit of a team. It's Tapu Koko, Mega Charizard X, Scizor, Tangrowth, Gliscor, Gengar, Pangoro, Slowking, and Miltank. I think this is the only draft to be 9 Mons in variance, in the entire division. But he's basically gone for the mindset of quality over quantity.
I think he's just played so much 8-mon format that he's just, at this point, he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to bring 8-mons. I'm comfortable with it. We expanded 10 points, and he still drafted his whole team in 9 rounds.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
like
he's
his
just
team.
terrible at budgeting.
He's been doing well with Gliscor. I've seen him use it. He drafted Coco, I think, his first season, and he did really well with it. Charizard X is one of my favorite mons in the format, or probably my favorite Mega in the format. He does well. He's drafted a lot of his comfort mons like Scissor and Gliscor, and I don't know. I like it. He tends to sometimes get like 2 mons for 1 or 2 points in the end that he never brings. So I'd rather see him use something like a Milk Tank and a Slow King that for sure will come, or at least force prep like Pangoro.
Yeah, for sure. Any-
I've never been
Oh, go
big
ahead.
on 9-mon teams just because they do to limit variety. And I lost track of mentioned it there. Someone said he's used to 8-mon tournaments, so if that's how he plays and he's used to it, then it may well work for him. Would not surprise me.
Yeah.
It's just, it does limit him and how many mons his opponent has to do some kind of.
Yeah, but if those mons are like Coco, Sardex,
Yeah,
Caesar,
no,
that you can't prep against them.
Yeah.
The prep for it's really irritating to do with this.
I like it. The problem is, in my opinion, when you have less, when you go for these high budget drafts, it's hard to roll compress in a lot of ways. And I think on paper this kind of suffers. Like
I think what you're trying to say is, it's difficult to prep for, but once you see the 6 mons that you're facing, he becomes a lot more readable.
Maybe. My point is, I do kind of agree with that sentiment in a way, but I think it's easier to narrow down the team on paper, and roll compression really suffers with this, in my opinion, because if you look at this draft, the 2 key points are is removal and hazard setting. Removal isn't so much of a problem. He's got Scissor, he's got Gliscor, he's got Defog Coco for the niche situations, maybe even Defog Zardex if he really wants to run that sort of stuff. And he's got good overall bulk, but he's got his rock setting is Gliscor, which we all know actively hates rocks. I've never seen a ground type more afraid of running rocks than I have a Gliscor, because it's just got so much 4 move slot syndrome associated with it. And then it's Miltank, and I feel like so much pressure is going to be put on Miltank to come and set rocks. It hurts the draft more than the quality helps it. So yeah, I agree with your point, Nathan. Once on paper it's a lot tougher, but once those 6 mons appear on your screen, you can kind of break down the sets because of the roll compression issues much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I overall agree. But it's a standard high quality draft. Recon's been more than capable and has proved it many times that he can operate with such a tight draft as well. So yeah, any final points?
Yeah, I think I really
Go ahead, Vic.
prefer actually shorter drafts. Like, I've actually been 9 months if I hadn't had once per opponents of with many people.
Yeah, it's fair.
Sometimes with these even roll compression, some mons can do it so well that it doesn't actually factor. For example, about the Caesar can, in this kind of team, can bring every game Sword Stance, Defog, Roost, Bullet Punch.
Yeah.
always be a cleaner, and you have to deal with it. And with Coco behind it, Sardex behind it, Gengar behind it, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need coverage on it because it's going to be a cleaner, and it's going to be like last minute default option, and it's going to do it.
Yeah, and I think
Similar things.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The rocks, and don't think it's like so good because actually Gliscor completely abhors to have rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think can actually make it work. You can go with some kind of roostless build and go with rocks and
Yeah, there's ways around the issue. Yeah.
And simply having more efficient mons can actually bring that, because in the end these are the support mons. And actually has to completely prepare against that is much more dangerous. The Coco is the Sardex, is the Gengar, is the Scissor. So forcing them to prep against those, like you can perfectly know what Gliscor is doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have rocks. Good. But that doesn't solve your other problems that the team is trying to pose to you.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty damn good draft.
I also like the kind of choice of regen core he's gone with as well. Tangrowth and Slowking I think make like probably one of the better pairings that you can get out of regen cores.
More offensive than other regen cores.
Yeah, but they also like cover each other's natural defensives very nicely. So yeah, I like the team all in all. I'm just concerned over roll compression for him. That's all.
Yeah, let's see how David does with this.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And finally, TB, would you like to run us through your Vancouver Milotics squad for this season?
Sure, why not? So for this season, I decided to Mega Gallade, Tapu Fini, Mamos Arcanine, Z Dragonite, Amoonguss, Duroc, Z Blaziken, Z Electrode, Claydol, and Z. The biggest risk I have with this team, I think, like to my eyes, is that my low tier mons are so niche. So, in effect, I do have somewhat of a shorter draft, which I'm not a big fan of. But I do think my mons all still serve a purpose, and I think it's very dangerous if people don't prep for them very well.
I would agree. I mean, like if you look at the breakdown of your draft, it's very similar to the way David's done his. Recon's done his. Like overall, except rather than taking like the 10-point Slowking and the 6-point Miltank, you've broke that down between some niche roles but some useful ones. Like Claydol's always going to be a good ground type to bring along when you need it. Electrode's that really fast threat that people have to kind of prep for. And actually, like the bulk of your team kind of reminds me of Zaffa's team last season, with that kind of like Arcanine Mamoswine threat.
I honestly don't remember his team last season.
It, like I say, I don't know. It just kind of fits a similar style. Big fan of the Dragonite. I think it's probably one of the first times we've seen it picked up in a while and used properly.
It would certainly be the first time that it's been drafted when Salamence has it in a while.
Salamence went undrafted compared to it, so.
I don't know. I just decided I wanted that multi-scale sweeper potential more than Salamence, whatever that does.
Yeah, the same thing but with Intimidate, really.
I really like the Blaziken pick. I think it's a really low tier breaker.
Yeah,
and
really good.
Fighting in fire coverage.
And that defog as well. That was the big thing that I needed at that point. I needed a defogger not weak rocks in order to support Dragonite better.
You got Fini, which
but you don't want to be forced to run it every week. That's Fini.
Okay.
But it's the kind of mon that you can run every week and like not suffer too much about it with defog.
Yeah, I felt so bad taking that Blaziken though, because of that was bad.
Oh, did you snipe Lonely? Was it?
I did, but he announced in the chat like a pick before me. Like we were waiting on, I forget who was before me, and he goes in chat, "Get me Blaziken on my pick," and I'm sitting there with Blaziken as one of my potential options. Like, well, now I feel guilty.
Whoops.
No need to feel guilty. If you wanted it, you wanted it.
No, take
Oh,
no
it's
prisoners.
it's his fault, 100%. That he announced it in chat, but like I still feel bad.
Well, you shouldn't. As
but
long
yeah,
as you intended to pick it beforehand.
I like.
It's all fair game. But I like that you Z'd Blaziken. I like that you went kind of with the approach of because I had a problem of the mon that I Z'd kind of forced me to Z other mons that weren't as good. But I think Dragonite's a wonderful Z user. Blaziken and Electrode I think could use it. Rolipede not so much, but I think you got 3 solid Z users.
Yeah.
And I know one thing is it's just really hard to prep for the different kinds. So Dragonite maybe doesn't want a Steel type or something. I guess it could run Z Fire Punch. But I don't know. I think you just have a lot of versatility in Dragonite and Blaziken kind of hitting different things hard.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the draft. It's nice and versatile. I mean, Mega Gallade Jirachi was the core that I had last season, and that kind of double psychic synergy is really nice. I was a big fan of it last season.
Yeah, the lack of dark type is the one thing that's worrying me this season because so many people went with the overwhelming psychics.
I was about to bring that up, but you know, but it's also like problematic for the for Jirachi, I think. But I think you've got decent enough checks to most dark types, so especially with Finny. Finny is just such a consistent check to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Finny's going to get a lot of work this season.
I think overall it's a pretty solid draft. No major complaints.
I think I have to agree. It's really solid. And it has everything. It has breaker, it has pivoting, it has setup, playing crap to the opponent's side of the field. It's pretty good.
Yeah. There may be one thing is the high tier rockers are like they don't mind. I mean, Jirachi specifically doesn't mind rocks, I suppose, and Mamoswine. Mamoswine's Mamoswine. It needs 3 moves, and then you can stick it on the end. But it's more a case of when Jirachi's forced to run rocks, it does struggle more with consistency, and Mamoswine isn't, the most consistent of rockers. But that's the only real concern overall. Your other hazards from Whirlipede is a great niche as well.
I mean, the thing about this as well is that I'm going to have so much focus on keeping hazards off field.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
My best removers are defoggers. Like Cladle's a niche rapid spinner, but my best removers are defoggers, so my own rocks won't stay on the field anyway.
No,
so it's not the end of the world to me.
Absolutely a valid point.
So maybe something to. I mean, I don't know if you want to bring it up in the future, but I mean, you mentioned your lack of dark type. I think you need to have either some kind of bug or something to help you break down those bulky psychics. I guess you do have Z Dragonite, but I could see Z like a Cresselia doing kind of just stalling you out, or I don't even know if somebody got Cresselia, but
or a Necrozma or a Mega Latios.
I guess it's nice that you can face 2 of them on the same week.
Right.
But I could see a psychic
you would
type.
think, but no.
Just something to break down those psychic types, I think, could help you out in the draft later on.
I mean, Finny has things with Nature's Madness, Storm.
Nature's Madness, yeah.
It's really annoying to deal with, actually.
Yeah, so any final thoughts on that? Or
I like the draft. And it's going to be next week. It's going to be an interesting week.
Yeah, the opening, the opening review of Week 1 games. Hopefully.
You guys got any trash talk for anybody?
None that I really want to say. The last thing I did want to bring up was Mike's official PRs. Actually, just a quick discussion on them. We did it for we were doing it for Blue Division as well, but Mike's independent analysis is in league announcements. If you guys want to get it up and take a quick peek.
Yeah, I got it up here.
Overall, I don't know. I think
Bill got the shaft.
I think that doesn't surprise me like at all. It's hard to respect Bill's teams on paper. That's the one thing I will say. The points Mike went through, that I think there's a couple not covered by us, unlike Blue really, but a lot of shared ones. He placed the Brighton Bewares at the top, which, to be fair, given the amount of support he's managed to gather around the Lele Zamcore, perfectly understandable. Yeah, his.
Yeah, I think he did well. I agree. I mean, Evan and what do we call him? Cal?
Lonely or Cow, whichever you prefer. It's all the same.
Oh, we call Lonely Cal. I think he was pretty spot on in having those ranked 1 and 2. I may put Lonely's above Evans, but I mean, it's not something that I disagree with too hard.
I think
maybe Recon's 4th ranked was.
Yeah, I disagree. Maybe. I mean, to be
fair,
fair,
on that one.
To be fair, I should have been ranked higher, but I got shafted based on personal bias because he doesn't like the Mons I picked. So it definitely should be me 4th and Recon maybe 6th or below. But it's okay, Mike.
I mean, it's his opinion. I mean,
no, I know. I'm joking.
I appreciate him doing the rankings and everything. It's just
absolutely.
My thing. Shiny's team is another team I don't face, but I think his is pretty spot on as well.
Solid team, yeah, for sure.
He's got you as 6, kind of middle of everybody.
I think Vic being 13th.
That's the one I question a lot. I think that should be higher.
I think
his points are really good.
I think from an objective perspective, it should maybe be above the likes of the Ladner Lantern draft and maybe the Detroit Terravolts draft. But it's like I said, like objectively, it's not the strongest team because it's Vic.
Have something planned. I do have something planned for it.
Oh well, I'm sure we'll be.
What he said, I already agree with some of his points. So
that's fair if you agree with it.
I said,
But yeah.
For a couple of games before if I do any changes.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think everyone did draft really well. I think every game is struggling to half this season. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a really close season, I think, from everybody.
So I think a lot of the ranking just comes down to your personal, which not all of it, obviously, but a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Right, I think that concludes. If you've got any smack talk, guys, get it out of the way now.
Recon 6-0 by Mega Gardevoir. Calling it now.
Recon? Oh god. Crazy. Loco.
I played my week 1, but
Fear the Venipede. Fear the peeps, guys.
Loco, unfortunate mate, but you should have done better in prioritising your mons. And they'll be coming for you on the week 7 we face. Anything from anybody else? Any points to bring up, or I'll take that as a no.
Not for me.
For the final time, I'll take the resounding silence as a no. And with that, that pretty much concludes everything. So thank you guys for hopping in.
It's been a pleasure,
to-
like always.
To do the analysis. It was another fun review. But yeah, do you guys want to say your goodbyes?
Goodbye, world.
Good luck to
Hopefully, I can catch you guys on the next REDCast, and it doesn't end the one time I join again the week after.
Cancelled.
It's fair. Let's see if we can get REDCast to last 3 episodes this season.
It lasted more than 3 episodes last season, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, so yeah, thank you guys.
It's been fun, and I hope
go ahead, Vic.
we can keep doing this.
Yeah, hopefully. Presuming I can keep some sort of schedule with it. But yeah, thank you guys very much for joining me. Thank you to everybody for watching, and we'll hopefully see you for the week 1 battles.